Hey guys, it's the Urban Investor here back with another video, and today I am talking about TenX. Now TenX ICO'd around about August time, and since a initial nice run up, it's been on a downtrend comparative to Bitcoin for the last few months. So I want to see if it's a great time to buy now that TenX is at relative lows, or if we should stay away from TenX. So let's just jump in and find out. So what do we need to know about TenX? So if you guys know nothing, this card should give you guys a bit of a hint in terms of what they're about. So essentially what they're trying to do is make cryptocurrency accessible in everyday purchases. So how are they doing this? They're essentially working with card providers connected to their network via a payment card and allowing us to essentially make quick and safe cryptocurrency transactions using cryptos rather than using fiat currency as we currently do. So in simple terms, this means basically using a prepaid debit card and working as an instant converter of our current cryptos or multiple digital currencies that we have, as we do with fiat currencies at the minute. Now currently TenX is supporting Bitcoin, Dash, Ether and some ERC20 tokens like Salt or Misogo as examples. However, they're looking to roll out to support most of the current coins and blockchain assets. Now, how are they doing this? So before I jump into the ERC20 token, essentially what you do is you have a mobile wallet, a TenX mobile wallet, which is basically an app for both Android, iOS. There's also a desktop version, and this wallet and app connects to a debit card if it's available in your country. There's only certain countries that they offer it at the minute, and it links to this wallet, and then you can use it in sort of shops at the minute, as you would do in your supermarket or when you buy coffee, etc. Now there are a couple of things to bear in mind. First of all, it's not available in all countries. It was initially available outside of Europe. However, recently, because of MasterCard and Visa restrictions, it has a partnership with Visa. However, with MasterCard, Visa followed. They're no longer offering it outside the EEA, which is a European, almost like union piece. So there's only a number of countries that they're offering inside Europe. So that's a massive limitation, and we'll see that's one of the key reasons why the price has been dropping when I look at the TA. But something to bear in mind. So what does this ERC20 token mean, and how do they use it as an incentive? So TenX itself is a payment system, but it also maintains a token which is denoted as PAY, pay. So this is essentially what you guys go out and buy in the exchanges. So how does this token fit into this process? So with traditional card transactions, what happens is the merchant pays a fee when they accept their payment. Now the fee ranges anywhere between 0.5% to 3%, and the way that this fee is sort of distributed is between the merchant bank card processing system, so the technology that processes the payment, and the card's issuing bank. Now, I know this sounds a lot of gibberish to a load of you guys, but bear with me. I will go through a real example in the next slide, so stick with it. And what TenX are basically doing is taking that issuing proportion and offering it as an incentive for card users and token holders. So what is this incentive? They're basically offering 0.1% of all purchases made with a card as an incentive back in pay tokens. So that's their own sort of almost like digital currency or token. And for people that are holding the token, you will be able to get 0.5% of the total aggregate payment volume on their network. Now, in terms of how that practically works, one thing's worth noting is if you hold it in the exchanges, you're not going to get this. You're going to have to hold it in a wallet or ERC20 wallet, so that's something to note. Also, they haven't really given a roadmap in terms of when we're going to get these tokens. I had a look at the various documentations and channels, social media channels. They haven't really committed to a date, so we're not sure when we're going to get this. And as we'll see in the example, the volume needs to be massive before we get any benefit in terms of this incentive. And another final point to bear in mind, these incentives are no different to what's currently available by traditional credit card companies. So rather than getting Ether or pay tokens, we get cashback. So I know in the UK with certain credit cards, you get 2% cashback for using their card, and they also have some sort of air miles and some other deals that they do to drive volume. So it's not exactly something new. So just something to bear in mind and give you guys a balanced view. I'm not going to always just say, yeah, this is great, this is a great project. If there's something that's of risk or something of concern, I will highlight this. So what are TenX trying to do at the minute in terms of the market? They're trying to enter into a massive market, predominantly driven by by issuers. And if we look at a couple of examples here, we can see with Visa, Amex, they're processing trillions of dollars here, 6 trillion in Visa's case, 1 trillion in Amex. And I've got PayPal up here as well, although they're not an issuer, 400 billion in dollars in transaction volume. Now, why is this relevant? So this is relevant because what TenX are trying to do is the same as what these guys are trying to do. In a sense, trying to make money by charging the merchant for processing payment. So where these guys all do that, I know PayPal has a more varied business model, but predominantly these guys are just charging different fees to make money. That's charged to the merchant. So this is the good. I mean, the good news here is obviously it's a massive market. So for TenX, even if they get a small percentage of this market, it could be huge in terms of volume. However, it's also worth noting, because of this market size, there's no doubt there's a number of competitors. There's also companies and startups that have come and gone, and so it's very, very competitive at the same time. So how does this incentive scheme work? Now let's take a look at more detail. So this is an example up here, which is taken straight off their website, and I think this is a good example to base how the token incentive works. So if we use this example, let's just say $10 you buy something from a merchant, in this case a cafe. Let's say TenX charge 2% fees to process this payment. So how does this work? So the merchant gets charged 20 cents. The fees are distributed into three sort of sections or parties. First, the merchant's bank. So this is basically the bank that merchant is working with. And then the card reading sort of technology, or the technology behind allowing the payment to go through. And in this case, let's just assume it's Visa. And then finally, it's the card issuer. So this is TenX. So TenX doesn't have a banking license at the minute, so it can't issue its own cards. So this is something another thing to bear in mind. They have applied for one. Again, there's no sort of timeline in terms of when they're going to get this license. But obviously, if they get this license, it's going to be massive. They can issue their own cards. They don't have to currently work through partners. They're working with Wavecrest at the minute in terms of trying to who have a license on behalf of Visa, and that's how they get their cards. So that's something to bear in mind. However, in this case, let's just assume 10x is a card issuer in this example, and then let's assume in terms of in this specific case, again these are just dummy numbers just to make it easy to follow. We can see in this case, let's say the merchant bank's charge is 3 cents. The Visa charge to process the card transaction is 3 cents, and then 10x take 14 cents. Now, under the current incentive process, as we said, they're giving 0.1% to people that use the cards for transaction volume, and then 0.5% for people that hold the tokens in terms of total transaction volume. Now, again, using this example, we can see the person that made this payment, let's just say this is you in this case, you paid $10 and you're going to get 1 cent out of that, that's 0.1%. And then assuming the 0.5%, that means you'll get also 0.05 cents or 5 cents rather in pay as a paid token holder, assuming you hold your a token in a wallet. However, just bear in mind in this assumption, this simple assumption, just to make the numbers easy, even then you can see the denomination is quite small, which gets it to be a bit tricky. However, this assumes one paid token. However, there's a 205 million, I think, in circulation, or is the current supply rather. So the current supply is 205 million. So this 0.05, this 5 cents will in essence actually be divided by the tokens in circulation. So again, this becomes even more small. So the key thing out of here to take away is for you to really get any benefit or real benefit out of this is there needs to be massive adoption and volume. That's the only way you'll get any real benefit from this incentive scheme. So something again to bear in mind, just using this simple example, because it's not that clear, the 0.1% is based on how much you use the cards, and there's 0.5% is based on the total volume processed by TenX, and this is shared amongst all of the token holders. So again, unless the volume is very high or big, it's going to be very small. So just in terms of you guys trying to follow the numbers, the percentages are based on payment volume. This has been taken from their white paper. I had a look because again I wasn't sure if it's based off the 14 cents they make or if it's based off volume. So I had a look at the white paper and it's actually based on the payment volume. So in this case it's $10. Now a few other sort of points before I move on. So in terms of when you have the card, there is a fee to pay for the card. There are, various fees that are waived if you transact a certain volume. Also, there's no FX fees at the minute being charged. So there are full fees available on the website. I'm not going to go through into too much detail, but in case you guys were wondering about what the fee structure is, there is more information on the website. I'm just trying to keep this video brief as possible. So that leaves 0.08, which is 8 cents, which TenX keep, and essentially they use this to pay their overheads, their costs, and keep some for profit. So let's jump into the TenX roadmap. Now, I have a quick snapshot here. Again, we can look at a more longer term view on their website. However, on here we can see initial version of Comet Live, comprehensive security testing and audit on Comet fully integrated. Now, what is Comet? So essentially Comet, without getting too technical, is basically trying to be a network for all of the various blockchains. Now, using these various images, hopefully this will explain, again taken from the website, it's trying to, if we use the coins at the minute as an example, Litecoin, Ethereum and Bitcoin, each of these guys have got their own blockchains. However, each of them are currently independent and you can't interact or make transactions without a middle step like an exchange to be able to do this. So what these guys are trying to do is essentially develop a decentralized network made up of cross-chain asset conversions, and this basically means you can make instant, frictionless and cheap payments, almost like cross-border if you like, if you want to try and bring it to the real world. However, one thing to note is what they're trying to do here is trying to quicken the access of liquidity. However, although it's not in direct competition, you've got projects like Go and Salt as an example trying to tackle the issue of cryptocurrency liquidity. Again, it's not a direct solution, however it is a solution in a different angle, so it's worth noting that this is a space that's quite competitive, and it's really one of these areas where they really need to be first to market. So I think speed is going to be important for TenX, so this is something to bear in mind whether they can deliver their roadmap. Now, moving on to their team. So the team is huge. Currently, there's 37 members on the website. Now, as you can imagine, I haven't gone through each and every one of them. I'm just going to focus on one of the co-founders, Julian Hosp. Now, Julian is the face of the company. You've probably seen him on their social media. He's a medical doctor by profession, and he's got various sort of other sort of experiences. However, he's not massive in terms of a blockchain or a fintech expert. So if you want to invest, I would highly recommend you look into the other areas. I'm not sure if Toby, which is one of the other co-founders, has this background, or any of the other team members. On their website, it does say they've got varied experiences from companies like PayPal and other big hitters, but you may want to do your own research and find out. So that's that. And just before I move on to the next slide, I just want to make a quick correction on my previous slide. I did say the current circulation of tokens is 205 million. Actually, what I meant to say was 205 million is the max supply. Currently, their 10x have about 50% of that utilized and live. So just a quick correction before you guys come and comment in the comment section that there's an error with this. But in any case, if there is any other sort of discrepancies, do let me know. And as always, I don't want to mislead you guys. Let me know, and I'll investigate, check, and let you guys know if there's any miscommunications or discrepancies. Now let's look at the TA. So as said at the start, since its ICO around about August time, it's had a massive run up. However, since then it's been going in one direction. We can see around about September we saw a massive drop, and then another one in October. Now, what was driving this? So in September, TenX communicated that they will no longer be able to issue cards outside of Europe. So this is as a result of Visa and MasterCard, although they're working with Visa, but MasterCard I think were one of the first to begin this, and Visa followed. They've decided to move out of EEA, which is a European group. I don't think it's similar to the Euro, but it's slightly different. It's an economic sort of group, so it's only limiting it to a handful of European countries, stopping all of the countries on their website outside of Europe. So this has been massive and stopped their progress. And it's worth noting that these guys don't have their own banking license, so they can't issue their own cards. They have to use a third party who have the license on behalf of, say, Visa. So currently they're working with Wavecrest. They have applied for their own license to issue their own cards, so that will be a massive breakthrough and step if they do get that. However, there's no, communication or insight in terms of how long will that take, will they get their license, etc. So I think that's something to bear in mind. It could be, a massive catalyst if they get that. But currently, if we look at the TA, it's broken every single level of resistance. So I'm not sure how low it's going to go. It might pick up. It's at the lows. We can see when you look at the 21-day, 50-day, 100-day moving averages, it's broken all of the technical indicators. So it's something to look at. I think for me, from a TA point of view, it's not looking great. It's something that you might want to look at comparative to all of the points that I've mentioned already. But however, I will summarize in terms of my views in the next slide. So the $1 million question, should you guys invest? So let's summarize and capture all of the points. So first of all, is there a real world use case? The answer is yes, we saw it. You can't currently spend cryptos that easily in the real world. However, these guys are trying to make it a lot more accessible for us to do this. Is there adoption? Yep. So we can see they've got a partnership with Wavecrest to issue the Visa cards. They've issued cards already, so it's already live. It's a working product, which is great. So there is a start of adoption, albeit not at mass scale. Now, is the team experienced? As I said, the team is huge. You've got 37 people there. You definitely need to do your research in terms of whether it's the right skill set. Definitely look at the ownership and the leaders. As I said, they don't, from what I can see with Julian, I couldn't really see too much of a fintech background or vast experience in blockchain. I didn't really look at Toby. Maybe Toby can cover that side of things. But definitely look at, sorry, Toby being the other co-founder. So definitely do look at, the team before you get involved. And then is there scope for gains? Again, yes, we're at relative lows, very, very, very low prices comparative to the highs. It's dropped out the top 50 in terms of market capitalization. So you look at this two ways. One, there's upside, your downside risk is low. However, as I said, there's a few things that we need to consider, hence the massive but. And the reason for that is, yes, there's a working product, but it's such an easy process and product to replicate. Now, Monaco have got their own card that offers similar sort of incentives. So there's a competitor there, Revolut, which is another digital sort of wallet offering a card. Recently, I think it was last week, said they're going to offer Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum as currency options. So that's another thing to mention. And then you've got also other companies like Netella, another card which is offered in partnership with Mastercard currently, and they offer Bitcoin as a deposit method into their digital wallet. So there's a lot of competition out there. These guys need to really get adoption, get um, volume through their network as quick as possible, because otherwise it's not going to be sustainable. There's no real volume stats that I can see to see how it compares to the market leaders, as we saw with Visa, Amex, etc. However, this is going to be, I think, the key to its success. Now, we've also saw the incentive schemes. However, as I said, unless there's volumes, this is not going to be really material in terms of benefit. It sounds massive with 0.5 5%. However, is it going to be worthwhile? And then finally, um, I just wanted to uh, make the point that currently cryptos are not being used on a regular basis, and a large part of that is because it's more of a store of value. We can see the price action with Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and all of the others, Dash. It's been going astronomical. Now, would you want to spend that at the minute, or would you rather hodl on hold and see when does a sort of currencies stabilize? So I think that's something else to bear in mind. Until there's a bit more stability, we might not see the volume come through. So that's my 2 cents, guys. Hopefully this is useful. Let me know what you guys think. As always, this is just my not financial advice. This is just my opinion. And in case you guys were wondering, I'm not gonna go near TenX until there's a real, they've got their own license, or they release some volume stats, or something, there's a real catalyst that pushes it up, and it sort of holds some of the technical indicators. So that's it for today. As always, please comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.